Breaking news, police have called off the search for a man who's been missing in waters south of Adelaide for 3 days. Police received a distress call from Tony Higgins on Tuesday morning saying his boat, the Margrel, was taking on water near Granite Island south of Adelaide. They spent 3 days searching 500 square kilometres looking for the boat with dangerous conditions hindering the effort. This was the second rescue that police had tried to undertake for this particular boat after they rescued 2 sailors on that boat earlier this month. A clothing store has opened its doors in inner Sydney, but there's a twist. Nothing is for sale. All of the garments are donated by Australian fashion houses and provided free of charge to vulnerable members of the community who have been referred to the service. For more, I'm joined by Andie, Halas, who's the founding director at Thread Together. Andie, Halas, thanks so much for your time tonight. How did Thread Together come about?
Oh, it was 8 years ago, and I was working in the fashion industry, and we had some towels that had a production issue, and I took them around to the Asylum Seeker Centre around the corner. And when I dropped them off, I just saw the clients of the service rummaging through old boxes of old clothes, well-meaning people had donated these clothes, second-hand bras, and I thought, we can do better than this. And so I contacted a number of my colleagues in the industry and then had a bag of new clothes, took them back to the Asylum Seeker Centre and just realised that there was a sense of dignity when people had choice and could choose how they wanted to dress, and the fact that all the clothes were brand new was something they'd never experienced.
So you've opened a new boutique in Darlinghurst with others in Canberra and Adelaide, but it's so interesting because there's no money that gets exchanged.
No, that's right. So there is a problem in the fashion industry in terms of, it's estimated that 30% of garments actually are dead stock, which means you can't sell them. And so instead of sending them to landfill, we thought, well, we can do something better and get them onto the backs of people who really need them. So we now have 6 hubs, our latest one being in Darlinghurst, which is a great area for us because there are so many agencies around the area. And we've opened this hub up. It's a very warm environment. It's non-judgmental, and people are referred by agencies, and they can quietly come into this safe environment and get a whole new wardrobe for themselves, bras, underpants. And I think the fact that it is their choice, it's jeans that they've chosen that nobody else has worn before, it's the first step in often a very long journey to some new beginnings.
How much demand is there for your services since the pandemic began?
Well, even prior to the pandemic, we have been clothing about 2,000 vulnerable Australians a week. So that's the homeless, refugees, people that have just left prison, victims of family violence. So that was complicated for us to work around COVID because all the agencies had to shut their services, yet it didn't mean that people weren't homeless or people weren't experiencing immense pressure after the fires, but we worked out a way to offer our services to these people by dealing directly with them and sending clothes directly to them. And look, I think the pandemic has hit everybody in some way. Definitely we've seen an increase in the demand for our services because people are under financial pressure, social pressure, physical pressure. I mean, only one has to look down Oxford Street where our new hub has opened, and there are many that are actually being housed in the doorways. We have a father and daughter who have taken up residence in the hallway of our new hub. So there's a lot of sadness, and family violence doesn't stop just because of a pandemic. If anything, it will be on the increase. So, yes, there's a huge demand for our services, and we're dealing with about 300 agencies around the country at the moment.
Yeah, you mentioned about 30% of the garments that are produced in fashion and never actually sold. So is this also putting a focus on fashion for good and on sustainable fashion?
Absolutely. I think in my experience, we have 100 Australian fashion labels that now work with us and partner with us. And I think they are so relieved to have an ethical solution to their excess stock. You know, they want to do good, they want to do the right thing, and this is one way they can. I mean, I suppose the truth is I hope one day we'll find another way of providing people with the dignity of new clothes, and it won't be through excess stock, but that's going to take a while. But right now, to go from factory to landfill makes zero sense when there are so many people out there who, you know, a new pair of shoes, or one man, he'd had the same pair of shoes for 3 years. And, you know, we sat him down in the hub and we took his size, and then out came the new shoes in a box. And what that does for someone is extraordinary.
Oh, Andie Halas, thank you so much for talking to us about the great work that you're doing.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.